Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Love your take on this. Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins coach yesterday, takes a knee on the last possession to end it at 70 points. They kicked the field goal. They set an NFL record with 73. And after he was booed by his own fans for not going after the NFL record, it ended up being a franchise record. How do you feel about that? He said afterwards, I'm not here to set records. We'd already embarrassed them. How do you feel about Coach McDaniel? What would you have done?
Well, you know what? You got to look at the game. Kicking a field goal, if it's the last play of the game, is that necessary? Does it do anything other than put the players in jeopardy? And if it was to put the players in jeopardy, I would take a knee. Okay? So to set a record, as he said, nobody really cares about that. But I think, you got to care about what you're saying. And by taking a knee, you're saying player safety comes first. And in any sport that's violent, whether it's football or anything else, player safety, if it comes first, you got to show it. And by doing that, I think he showed where his priorities were.
2008 CFL Western semifinal. You were there. I was there. BC at Sask. You might remember, Wally, Michael Bishop threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter for Sask. Ken Miller cut him that night.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
What's winning a Stanley Cup done for the Golden Knights? Have you noticed a change?
Yeah, I mean, the confidence is certainly there. This team had a lot of guys that knew what it took to win a Stanley Cup. They brought them in intentionally for that reason. You look at like Alex Pietrangelo, Alec Martinez. They had plenty of cup-winning experience on this roster before, but now they've all done it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it is. Thank you, Rick Regan, and welcome inside your favorite daytime sports talk show, whether you're watching us live on Game Plus Television, listening live on WQEE Radio, or the replay. Who knows? It's your boy RP here in South Florida. Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Coming up today, we've got from Sports Talk Winnipeg, Andrew Hustler Patterson, and the president of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Kyle McIntyre, as we talk Junior A, one of my favorite brands of hockey. Hey, Moose, let me ask you a question right now. How are things? What's going on? We missed you yesterday. You're out golfing. So how are things?
Things are good. Yeah, I missed being on yesterday. I was trying to follow as much as we could, but it was a big weekend. The Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame had their induction class. We know some of the big names. Ryan Getzlaff was on this show when the news came out. Haley Wickenheiser was in that induction class. But a good friend, a mentor, not only to me, but to Leanne Lauren Lasuda went in, longtime real builder and ambassador for amateur sport in our province. So that was exciting.
Good to hear. Well, I'll tell you what, I am very happy today because crisis averted. Crisis averted. Coming home from the Panthers game last night, there was a flash flood warning here in South Florida. I drove through it, and this morning I got up and took my Jeep to the I had to take my Jeep to the mechanic again. Mike, my guy Mike. Because the check engine light was on. And Mike goes, let me guess, did you leave the roof off it in the flash flood last night? I said, yeah. He goes, I get that it's a Jeep. It's not a submarine, Rod. Cover this thing, for God's sakes. Whether it's sun or rain, cover it up if you're not driving. He said, can you imagine if the water gets down through the vents, right, and all that? And I'm like, yeah, I never thought about that. So what it was some of the sensors were just wet. So he did a quick little check, and he's like, turn it on again. Check engine lights off. He's like, cover it. See you later. So I'm happy because, like, every time I come out of Mike's shop, it's a $500 U.S. touch, but it's good today. All I needed was basically turn it on and off and maybe get a blow dryer out. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Guys, and let's go. So I said, that's my day. I'm very happy. Yeah, buddy. We're going to get to the hockey in a moment. This is one of these days where 2 hours ain't going to be enough. It's a good thing that we're somewhat light on guests, unlike yesterday, because Darren and I have a lot to go through. We're going to open with baseball. For the baseball fans, Justin Verlander took a 2-hit shutout into the ninth inning, and the Houston Astros created some cushion in the American League playoff chase with a 5-1 win over the skidding Mariners Monday night. The 40-year-old Verlander was on the verge of his first complete game since a 2019 no-hitter against Toronto, but he was pulled after Josh Rojas' leadoff double in the ninth snapped a string of 16 straight batters retired. So if you haven't paid attention to baseball all week, this is the time to do it. The Blue Jays remain in the hunt for the playoffs, as we know, and they'll host the Yankees and Rays in a 6-game homestand starting tonight. The Blue Jays hold the second of 3 American League wildcard berths. I'm going to move on into football now. Joe Burrow on Monday Night Football, .2, shook off a lingering calf injury, throwing for 259 yards as the Cincinnati Bengals beat the LA Rams 19-16 to get their first NFL win after starting the season with 2 losses. And Jalen Hurts threw for 1 touchdown and ran for another to help the Philadelphia Eagles remain unbeaten with a 25-11 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hurts improved to 20-1 over his last 21 regular season games. Our poll question today has to do with the National Football League, and we'll get to that in a moment. A couple things, Darren, because I didn't get your take coming out of week 3 on the weekend. One, it's all football all the time. I went to the tailor this morning. I was wearing a Dolphins shirt, and the lady was like, "You Dolphins fan?" And I said, "Well, no, but I'm more a Cowboys fan, but living here, you can't really help." And she's like, "Oh, I get it, honey. I'm from Atlanta. It's black and red for me. But how about those Dolphins?" So we were talking about that. You know, and I watched the Monday Night Football game when I came home from the Panthers game. Driving rain at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. I'm like, am I ever glad I didn't drive over for that? And the Bucs lose for the first time under Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, week 3's in the books. Anything quickly stand out to you other than what you know is our poll question? And we're going to get to that right away here.
Yeah, last night, mostly my attention was spent on the Eagles and the Buccaneers, and 25-11, I think, was the final for the Eagles. They look good. Their defense is good. But I thought Baker and Tampa looked better than the score indicates. Every time they're driving, I thought they moved the ball okay. And then all of a sudden, I would leave the room for a second, come back. I'm like, how does Philadelphia have the ball? They just didn't finish drives. They never put points on the board. But they did a lot of good things, I thought, in the football game. So I think Baker and the Bucs will bounce back from this. And they pushed Philadelphia a little bit in that game. So it was a good one last night.
So it's now only Tuesday, and we're still hearing all about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I think anybody that follows football noticed it kind of started last week, but Sunday it really hit the fan when Taylor Swift was at the game in Kansas City. And it pretty much broke the internet. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's just where I am in my life. I'm not that I don't care that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are dating for a couple reasons. I'm not 12. You know, it was a big deal to me when Wayne Gretzky was dating Vicky Moss. That's the story behind Joey Moss and how he became the beloved Oilers locker room attendant. Wayne was dating his older sister, Vicky. That was a big deal to me. This ain't. And the other thing is gossip and relationships got me fired from my last job. So again, I'm just not really that into it, but I do have time for those that find it really interesting. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. This is about the extent of which we're even going to talk about those two on this show, unless it refers to Kelce scoring touchdowns as a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you relishing this story, or are you like me, kind of over it already?
I don't know if I'm over it, but I don't know if I was ever really that into it at the same time. It's kind of fun and cute, and you know, she's a big star and he's a big star and a big personality. So, you know what? It's fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot of interest in it to see where this goes. I'm not watching to see, wait a second, did their hands touch or not touch? Are they officially a couple?
Yeah.
Not really my business.
So quite interesting. I appreciate Jen from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, good morning, everyone. I'm already done with the Swift crap already. meddling with my sports. LOL. That's what I mean. I'd rather talk about the games. But this is an interesting question that I saw on the weekend. I thought I want to save it for a poll question this week for Key Auto Group. With the Key Auto Group, by the way, most vehicles receive a lifetime engine warranty guaranteed. Go to keyautogroup.ca/the Key Advantage for eligibility and maintenance requirements. The Key Auto Group here to take care of you. Clark, I'm going to ask for what they're saying on YouTube if you can get it ready. The question is, what's a bigger entity, Taylor Swift or the National Football League? When I heard it on the weekend, I immediately, as a lifelong sports guy, thought, well, it's the NFL, obviously. But I'm not a music guy. I used to be a DJ, but I probably was not in the right role as a DJ because I'm not a big music guy. So I voted for the NFL, and I will vote for the NFL in this poll because it's a bigger deal to me. But I asked Moose before the show to go to social media and add up how many Twitter followers and Instagram followers she has versus the NFL, and I'll spoil the surprise. She's got 3 times as many Twitter followers. The NFL has 30 million. She has 90 million. And she's got 8 times as many Instagram followers. What was it, Darren? The NFL had around 30 million, and she has 220 million Instagram followers. Not only is she bigger, it ain't close. Those numbers surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, they're very surprising. But we always get this little reminder that sports, no matter how big the NFL is, sports is still a niche thing. And music, and she's a top artist, right? Mainstream, transcends everything. It's not niche, right? Maybe when she started as just a country singer, it might have been more niche in that genre, but she's mainstream. She's everywhere. Sports fans, non-sports fans, they all love her, or at least they're talking about her. So I always get reminded of that, even though I think the NFL feels like it's mainstream and not a niche.
I'm not totally sure that's even the proper marks or metrics to go about it, but it's a pretty good way to go about it. So, yeah, we're going to move on. I said we got a lot to get to today, so we're going to do that and move into the National Hockey League now. We have a lot of hockey fans that have showed up. Can you just pump the brakes a little bit and let us do the talking? You guys just do the enjoying. Just sit back and let us entertain you, okay? Point 3, place line, Winnipeg. Laurent Brossoit made 26 saves, and the Winnipeg Jets' new top line showed a glimpse of what's to come in the team's 5-0 preseason victory over the Edmonton Oilers Monday night. Center Mark Scheifele and right winger Gabriel Velarde set up Kyle Connor for a power play goal late in the first period. Scheifele sent the puck to Velarde at the side of the net, and he used a no-look backhand pass across the front to Connor, who beat Calvin Pickard with a high shot at 15:06. Velarde, of course, was part of the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. Neil Pionk, David Gustafson, Morgan Barron, and Kyle Capabianco each recorded third-period goals. Vladislav Nemestikov picked up a pair of assists. One of the best names in the NHL right now, Darren, as far as I'm concerned. Brossoit, of course, was signed as a free agent after winning the Stanley Cup with Vegas last season. The Jets iced some of their vets, while the Oilers suited up a lot of young guys. For instance, Connor and Leon were left at home. The pair hasn't yet played in the preseason, including Sunday's match in Edmonton that the Jets won 2-1 in a shootout. So we're going to sit here and talk about these games to the extent that we need to or what they matter. Hustler Pedersen's coming up later on this hour to really get into the Jet stuff and maybe his take on the Oilers. But I saw somewhere, Darren, that Rick Bowness came out on the weekend. I didn't see the clip, but I heard that he did this. The coach of the Winnipeg Jets said, "Here's our team." And it was like, pop, putting a pin in the balloon. Took all the fun out of it. The team's picked, which incidentally, we already knew it was anyways. We've been talking about that for the last 2-3 years in every sport. Did you see the clip? Because that's what I'm hearing went on in Winnipeg with Bones.
I didn't see the clip, but I can just hear him doing that. Yep, here's our team. And just all these position battles or all these guys fighting for roster spots, yeah, that's not happening. But we know these teams, are pretty much picked. I think what you're looking at now with guys who have good preseasons or really good camps, they get a chance to maybe see a few more games during the regular season, maybe one spot, or they're battling for top lines on the American League affiliate, right, to get more playing time. But Not a lot of position battles up for grabs anymore.
Well, no, and I guess my point is, folks, enjoy the games. Let the coaches coach if you can, and let the GMs GM, because Coronado with a hat trick the other night. People are like, he's made the team. After the first game in the preseason? No. Man, they're going to say what they're going to say. And that's where the part of social media gets really annoying. But that's where I just turn it off. They already know who's made the team. Wakey, wakey. We've been saying it for the last couple of years, and now you got a coach saying it. You can sit there and pick apart these games all you want, but they already know who's going to make the team. Now, speaking of, Jacob Chychrun scored his second goal of the night at 3:48 of overtime Monday night as the Ottawa Senators defeated the Maple Leafs 4-3. I listened to it with Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph, which reminds me, Clark, I got Jim Ralph's number. I want to get him on the show. The 25-year-old Chychrun from Boca Raton, Florida, Jacob Chychrun, was acquired from the Coyotes at the trade deadline last year. Dominic Kubalik and Robbie Jarventi with a goal and an assist each also scored for the Sens. Mads Sogard made 37 saves for Ottawa. For the Leafs, rookie forward Easton Cowan, Mitch Marner, and Joseph Blandisi replied for Toronto. I was listening to the game, as I say, for whatever reason, Joe Bowen said that some police, Toronto's finest, as Joe Bowen said, came into the radio booth at the game. The game was it in Toronto? Maybe it was Ottawa. Either way, some police officers went into the booth. And I kind of wonder why. I've never had that happen. But your take on the Leafs from what you know through, 2 games they've played?
Yeah. I thought you mentioned the name Easton Cowan. He was the Leafs' first-round pick this past draft from the London Knights. And apparently he was really good. I didn't get to watch the game last night. I was watching Monday Night Football. But he was good. Up and down the ice, saw some of the highlights afterwards, and Sheldon Keefe said, I had to talk myself out of it and just keep playing him in the third period. Early in the game, you're just trying to give guys the minutes, and I kept wanting to play him, but I had to talk myself out of it. And finally, just open the gates, let him play. That's what you want, young guys that are hungry and want to play. And the other one was Noah Gregor. Some of our viewers, former Moose Jaw Warrior and Prince Albert Raider Noah Gregor, has seemed to maybe be a fit on the Leafs' fourth line, playing with Ryan Reeves and David Camp. So a couple of players that are kind of trying to find their way and maybe find some ice time. Played pretty well last night.
We haven't even got to the Flames story. We haven't even got to the Panthers story yet. Doubleheader here against Nashville, and I can tell you what I was looking for at the doubleheader here yesterday. And huge, and I mean huge news out of the Canadian Football League. That's all coming up after this break. We're only halfway through the Quick Six show topics, everybody. This is the warm-up. Sit tight. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's the RP Show. Great to be here in this business. It's great to be anywhere. And I'll remind you that our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. They're located on 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. They have a bar there with a big screen where they show the RP Show. Take some friends and check out Common Crown, and even check them out ahead of time if you wish at commoncrown.ca. I'm in South Florida. Moose is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, and we continue our tour around the NHL preseason from Monday night with leftovers, and we've got that huge CFL news coming up. But Kyler Yamamoto, remember that, Darren? Awesome. Scored a pair of power play goals to lead the Seattle Kraken to a 5-3 victory over the Calgary Flames in the first of a split squad doubleheader. Cale Fleury from Carlisle Sask, glad you asked. Ty Carty and Will Borgen also scored for Seattle. For the Flames, Walker Dewar, Michael Backlund, and Andrew Mangiapane replied. Story of the game, though, was for the Flames was the loss of 22-year-old Jacob Pelche, who left the game and didn't return after getting sent heavily into the boards with 6 seconds to go in the first period. Dustin Wolf went the distance in goal for the Flames with 24 stops. Meanwhile, in a split squad game featuring the same two teams but different players, only in Seattle, the Flames won 3-2 in a shootout. Highly confusing to me. I'm sorry, the split squad games. At least they did it here in Sunrise yesterday, but at least it was in the same rink. The Flames and Kraken met twice Monday, once in Seattle, once in Calgary at the same time. They seem to make heads and tails of it. I cannot. You?
I see it in baseball. Big rosters, the whole deal. My question is, who decides who's going to coach which game? Which game's the GM going to be at? The scouts. You know, that's a tough one when they're in different buildings when you're trying to scout players. Or are you having, you know, is the one team kind of an afterthought? I don't know. But it is a little confusing. But
there's got to be a reason why they do it. And I'll talk to the hockey guys next chance I get. Friday night, the Panthers are going to get to what they did here in a second. They got Carolina here on Friday night. But I went to both games yesterday. There was a 2 p.m. start and then a 6 p.m. start. And in the second game, I sat with some friends. You saw one of the Dodge kids I was with and his hockey teammates from the U13 Florida Fury. That's Bantam, right? And I looked over my shoulder up in one of the luxury suites, and here was all these young guys. They looked like soldiers. all in suits. I'm like, who the hell are they? Oh, that was the team that played this afternoon. They all looked like cardboard cutouts, just sitting there like robots. But they were all watching the game. They were ensconced in the game. And here's what happened. The Florida Panthers took the ice for a game Monday for the first time after a grueling four-day training camp and dominated. They really did. Florida swept the Nashville Predators in a two-game doubleheader, winning the first game 5-0 before taking the nightcap 5-2. Coach Paul Maurice had said the first game of the preseason would be a test to see how his players could handle game situations when they were most tired. And it appears they passed. Some of the things I noticed, not that anybody cares but me and the Panthers fans that are watching. That's why we started our own Panthers and Lightning podcast, the Nuts and Bolts podcast. But Spencer Knight stopped, I think it was 14 shots. He stopped them all. I watched him in practice on Saturday at the ice den. He let in 3 goals on 3 shots. I'm like, well, it's just practice. You understand there's a lot of fans, and I see some that are writing in here going nuts about preseason results. I'm like, you guys, you're just getting yourself worked up for no reason, but whatever, that's your choice. Even these preseason games don't matter. But I knew the practice mattered even less. But it was good to see Matthew Tkachuk. Good to see Sergei Bobrovsky, because Bob's your uncle. And Alexander Barkov and Oliver Ekman-Larsson had 3 assists at his Panthers debut, albeit preseason. The Panthers look ready to start the season. Let's drop the puck. They've got a swagger. I hope that continues for 82 games. And I really enjoyed the time at the old hockey rink in Sunrise yesterday. Panthers go to Carolina Wednesday night and then back to the Hurricanes on Friday. That's my assessment. They look real sharp. Any thoughts on anything NHL related before we move on?
No, I think that's cool. And that's what we wondered. Like, Florida, for me, is a big question mark because we go through, the odds at Bet Regal, and they're not near the top of the favorites. They're kind of, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. They made the Stanley Cup final. So for them to come back and have a swagger, and I've seen Paul Maurice in his post-game conferences and his post-practice press conferences, optimistic, and to see that and them take another step forward, they have a real ability to get right back there and be a team that isn't waiting till the last days of the regular season to secure a playoff spot. They're a team that's really going to push. And so that's fun and exciting, and it's always fun early in the year when teams have that optimism around them.
Read my lips, everybody. Not you, Darren, because you get it, but few do. We've started our own Panthers and Lightning specific podcast, Serena and I. It's called the Cats and Bolts podcast. Cats and the letter N, Bolts podcast. And our guy Joe said, hey, go ahead, talk about it on the show. So I won't inundate you all with Florida Panthers talk here, but I was talking to their hockey people on the weekend, and they said, these are the Canadian scouts, Darren. They're like, we have tons of fans in Canada now after that playoff run last year, which I knew, And what happened? They won. Why are there so many young Pittsburgh Penguins fans in Canada? Because they were playing deep into the spring, just like the Golden Knights. Why Sidney Crosby's beloved, not only because he's Canadian, but this is what perennially losing teams don't understand. The fans aren't obligated to cheer for you anymore just because you play down the street. Right, Darren? You get it. If you suck and you miss the playoffs every year, fans are going to go start cheering for the cool team because they can. And buy their merchandise and have it shipped to them and follow their social media channels. Do you know what I mean? It's the Panthers are cool in Canada, and it was my point. You've said it for a long time. We're now in a global marketplace for everything, but sports is what we deal in.
It is 1,000%. If you're not winning, nobody's talking about you. And that's why I often said, in places like Saskatoon or Regina, where I spent a lot of the early years, the Golden State Warriors were more of a local team than your local university basketball team because I knew more about them. I was filled with more information. The world is smaller. The information is more accessible. And you're right. If your team's not winning, I can cheer for any team I want. And guess what? Today, it's pretty easy to go to Vegas or go to Phoenix or go to Pittsburgh or go somewhere to watch the game. Flights are more accessible. They may or may not be cheap depending on when you buy them, but it's easier to be a fan of a team outside of your market. So you got to win.
It might have been a God shot this morning, but I was sitting there thinking, what am I going to talk about with the Canadian Football League today on a Tuesday? And then, how about that? Placeline Hamilton. The star power of the 2023 Grey Cup won't be limited to just the players on the field. Country superstar Carrie Underwood will perform November 17th as part of the Grey Cup Music Festival. The Hamilton Organizing Committee announced today. The Grey Cup game will be held at Tim Hortons Field on November 19th. Underwood's performance will be at Hamilton's First Ontario Centre. The Built in the Hammer Grey Cup Music Festival will run from November 16th to the 19th and feature both free and ticketed events. Underwood's appearance in Hamilton will be her first since 2016. Underwood, who was married to former NHL player Mike Fisher, has won 8 Grammy Awards and 16 ACM Awards, including 3 for Entertainer of the Year. She's the first female to win twice and only female to receive it 3 times. Underwood also holds the record for most CMT honors with 25. She also performs the introduction to Sunday Night Football, which she has since 2013. Underwood has sold over 85 million records worldwide and recorded 28 #1 singles. Pre-sale access to tickets for all Built in the Hammer Grey Cup Music Festival concerts will be open first for all Grey Cup ticket holders. Tickets to Underwood's concert will go on sale to the general public September 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern. If that doesn't sound like a studio voiced ad, I don't know what does. I'm going to be honest. You know, I'm a huge CFL guy. I love it. It's in my DNA. When I saw the news release today, I had to check the date. And I don't mean because when are they announcing this? I thought it might have been April Fool's. This is a big deal.
Huge. It's a big, big deal. You know, to have an act like that on the calendar during Grey Cup Festival, in the venue, or like in the town where you're hosting Grey Cup, it is going to create so much excitement. It's going to bring people to the city. And, you know, people may come for the Carrie Underwood concert, and they will, and not even know the Grey Cup's going on. Okay? That's going to happen. Sure. But when they come to the concert, they're going to be exposed to the Grey Cup Festival. They're going to find out it's going on. They're going to be part of the action. And it's going to be really hard not to get involved and get swept up. And I think this is really big. The more you can attach yourself to big things, big names, big people, it's good for the CFL. Really good. This is awesome.
So a few things here, and I appreciate the audience participation. Some trolling, some not, but all part of one big Rod Squad family, Darren. Regarding the you better win or they won't talk about you, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, well, the Riders are losing and the locals sure are talking about them. He's just trolling. Number one, I say this somewhat respectfully. Well, in Calgary, they don't talk about you win or lose. Sorry, truth hurts. Number two, I know it in Saskatchewan because in 2015 when we were 0-9, they eventually do stop talking about you. They do, because I dropped my gong there, and you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. Now with metrics and analytics with digital media, we saw it. Everybody says losing's good for business in terms of talk shows and stuff. Eventually, they stop calling in and stop listening. We have the data. So, yeah, they're raging in the Wheat Province right now about the Riders, but they won't be forever. They're pretty close to tuning them right out. And then that'll go on for the whole off season. John Ohm says, why doesn't the NHL go more out of market areas during the preseason or regular season to promote its game across North America? They just played in Australia on the weekend. Coyotes and Kings. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg. If they want to make it a real Grey Cup event, they should let Simone Lawrence be the opening act. Okay. From Max Raven says, because when you think of Hamilton, you think of country music. Former country DJ here. Me, this guy. I don't think of Carrie Underwood as country. I'm sorry. I think of her as pop, almost Taylor Swift. Deal or no deal on that. Like,
yeah.
Don't crap on this. This is a huge deal, man. Can you let the CFL have their moment for, not you, this guy?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, Carrie Underwood is bigger than country music. She's bigger than, that's what stars do, right? They're bigger than the genre. Taylor Swift started as country. It's very similar. But Carrie Underwood is not just country. She is universal and very well respected. Look at the awards she's won. I mean, to be Entertainer of the Year 3 times, that's a big deal. So, no, this is going to be great. And there's going to be trolls, but there's nothing you can say to, actually take away from this or make it less than it is. It is huge.
Yeah, by the way, our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. I'm not done on this. This morning was a wonderful example of how people just headline read. As you say, Darren, your term, people were like, oh, what a wonderful halftime act. Shouldn't it be Canadian? Wiki, wiki. We didn't say halftime. Read the dates. I said November 17th is when she's playing. The game is November 19th. If you're not listening or you're not reading closely, I feel I'm a fine print guy. I am now at my old age, because you better be, especially in today's era of fake news. So she's not doing the halftime. That's a topic a little later. And we don't have time for this discussion, but I will read the point. The Western Hockey League says Wenatchee Wild head coach Kevin Constantine has been suspended pending an independent investigation into alleged violations of WHL regulations and policies. This guy coached the Pittsburgh Penguins, San Jose Sharks, and New Jersey Devils. The league said Constantine was suspended Sunday, and he is not permitted to have any contact with any member of the organization, including players. The WHL said the suspension came after its independent reporting channel received a complaint about Constantine's conduct. WHL said its security network and Wenatchee Wild management met with the players to address this situation and offer support. I'll only say this, that we're going to run to a break. I talked to people in the league today. Nobody really knows what happened, but what I was told was there's a 24-hour phone line for players to report abuse. So this was what this guy said to me today. Either it's really bad or it's somebody crying wolf. And I said, what if it's somewhere in between and some kid got asked to pick a towel up off the floor and he'd never been asked to do that and he feels that that's abuse? Because that's possible too. And this guy said the Dub would not have suspended him if it was something as minor as that. Something went down. So, Moose, when you return in hour 2, we'll spend far more time on that. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Hustler Patterson's in next. It is episode number 1089 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, collectors, register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items, taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. Obviously, we're going to talk Jets and Bombers with Hustler Pedersen from Winnipeg Sports Talk, but us, big day in the CFL. Carrie Underwood announced as part of the festivities for Grey Cup Festival in Hamilton. What was your initial thought when you heard it?
Listen, I guess it sounds pretty cool for the Canadian Football League. I mean, sort of more wrapped up in Taylor Swift right now, Rod, as you can imagine. But, great stuff for the CFL to get Carrie Underwood, a huge star. We should make a Grey Cup week even better in the Hammer.
Yes, Friday night she's performing at First Ontario Centre, the old Cops Coliseum. I've had enough of Taylor Swift. Please tell me you have too. So we'll come around to football in a second.
As a Chiefs guy, I'm here for it, Rod, but I do have 5% of me is just worried that the biggest star on the planet, the most powerful woman in the world, actually has her eyes on the real prize, and that's Patrick Mahomes, and she's infiltrating the Chiefs from the inside through Kelsey.
Oh, no.
That could blow it all up, Rod. That could blow it all up. So fingers crossed that they could just have a nice run. She gets the Chiefs more shine, and it ends, most importantly, with another Lombardi at the end of the year.
It's been known to happen, but the quarterback seems pretty happy from what I've seen. Hey, I know it's early, and Jets fans are going crazy. Tell me, did Bonus come out on the weekend and say the team's picked? Something of that ilk? I read somewhere that he basically removed all intrigue from camp.
I mean, again, here's the thing. For the most part, we've known that. There's a battle for the 13th forward. But listen, with Dubois leaving and 3 players coming in from the LA Kings that'll have roster spots, it really squeezed the guys at the bottom of the lineup. So, I mean, at this point, Rod, I think what we're looking at is pretty much the top 12 established. Might be a change on a line or two. I think the top 6 defense is pretty much cut and dry, and those will be the returning guys. And then we'll see whether it would have to be put on waivers. And unfortunately for Billy Hainel, who looked great in that first preseason game, he's waivers exempt. So that probably means he's starting the year with the Manitoba Moose. There's not a lot of intrigue about who's making the team right now, in my opinion, and certainly from Bones as well. But just seeing how this team comes together with some big pieces up front, playing with new line mates and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think it's even a question who's going to be the backup goalie, especially after with what Laurent Brossoit did last night. Like, do you not think they acquired all those goalies in the summer thinking Hellebuck wasn't going to be around by now? Or what? What was your read on that?
I mean, certainly they had to be prepared if that happened. I mean, listen, Laurent Brossoit comes in on a 1-year deal knowing that there is the potential that he could be the starter at some point if a Hellebuck deal happens. And Colin Delia, who was good in the first game, more of it more of an insurance netminder, third in the organization. And they've got a couple exciting young goalies. Dom DiVincentis, who was the OHL goalie of the year last year, he'll be going back to junior. And Thomas Milic, who was Team Canada's goalie, they drafted him out of Seattle. He's 20. So he projects to probably be playing with the Moose, although they do have an ECHL affiliate. And once in a while, you'll put a young goaltender down there to be able to play 50, 60 games. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's Hellebuck. And until Hellebuck's not here, it's his crease. But I think LB will play a little bit more than the backups have in the past. And Brossoit looked great last night in the shutout win at home.
That's what I hear. Here's an off-the-board question, which I specialize in. You probably don't talk a lot about this, but what I hear from a lot of Jets fans is that Kevin Cheveldayoff is not visible enough. I hear the comment, Chevy needs to come in from the cottage and make a statement on blah, 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 blah. Is that a thing?
I mean, I guess to some people. He spoke at the beginning of training camp. I mean, he's not a guy that's getting out there every week and discussing what's happening with the team. Rick Bowness is really that guy. I mean, would we in the media like to hear from Chevy a little bit more? For sure. But I mean, the thought that he's just not working or whatever, frankly, is laughable. I can't imagine how busy this summer was trying to navigate all of the challenges that they have right now that are still very much out there. The Dubois deal happened first, but we're going to find out probably in the first 25 to 30 games, Rod, what the direction of this club is and what that means for the likes of Connor Hellebuck and Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't envy you riding the roller coaster of the fans. The good thing is you're on that roller coaster. You have a front row seat. You're just like the fans, which I think is great. Watching. Hey, Canada's game of the week, they're already talking about it. Bombers, Argos, Friday night, Grey Cup preview. What do you think?
Oh, man, Rod, I can't wait. We've been waiting for this game for 2 months. I'm sure there's a lot of guys in that Bomber dressing room that have been waiting since last November to get another shot at the Argos. And what a season they've had. The weather is projecting to be pretty nice, I think. It's gorgeous here right now. And, Rod, this is the third straight sellout in advance for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I can't remember when the last time a team in the CFL sold out 3 straight games. But listen, if you were going to go to one, this is a pretty damn good one to go to. Friday, IG Field should be absolutely rocking. It's a massive game for the Bombers right now. I mean, would they love to beat Toronto? Absolutely. Do they need the win to try to get closer to clinching first place in the West? Yeah, they definitely do. And, of course, then the huge rematch with BC and BC the following Friday. So these next 2 weeks for the Bombers are going to be massive. And I think that, well, you're damn right that this is the game of the week. Friday night, IG Field here in Winnipeg, you're going to have, I think what most people would agree is the 2 best teams in the league going at it for the first time since last year's Grey Cup. And I can't wait.
Buddy, you're the busiest guy in show business. We'll let you go. Wonderful update. I appreciate you. Stay close, man. Stay in touch.
Yeah, well, and sorry about the camera. I don't know what the heck was going on when I was logging in, but I've got an issue with my camera, so I did this off the phone. We will have a better view and look next time I jump on with you, Rod. But appreciate you. Have fun down south. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy. It was fantastic as always. We'll be right back with a sports update, and they want to talk about Kevin Constantine. We're getting texts from Washington State, where we're very big on TDS cable on Game Plus TV. We're also on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Well, we got a lot to get to and not a lot of time in this segment. I will remind you that Moose will rejoin us in hour 2, and we'll get into even more of these topics because this just went so fast in hour 1. Kevin Constantine, the former Devils, Sharks, and Penguins coach, suspended by the Western Hockey League, where he's now coaching Wenatchee. People want to talk about that. Carrie Underwood going to perform at the Grey Cup. No, it's not the game. And Michael's watching in Winnipeg at Ice Time Sports. Thank you, Michael, when he says, I'd be more impressed, writes us on Twitter, if she was doing the halftime show. She's just doing a concert during Grey Cup. No big deal. Come on, guys. Let's be positive. Maybe she was busy. Did we ever think about that? It's a big deal. Very big deal. Biggest performance at Cubs Coliseum since the 1987 Canada Cup. Mary Lemieux. Hustler asked, who's the last team to sell out 3 straight games? Thank you, Brett Taylor, for chiming in. The decade of decadence. Yes, we in Saskatchewan sold out regularly, but in the 2007 season, we sold every ticket all year long, 28,800. Including the preseason, 2007, in a victory over the Calgary Stampeders. Every seat was full. Every Couldn't get another soul in there. Good times. Sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays continue their playoff destiny as they kick off their final week of the Major League Baseball regular season tonight. They open a 3-game series with the visiting New York Yankees holding a 1.5-game lead over Houston for the American League second wildcard spot. The Astros have the third spot with Seattle a game and a half out. Mariners and Astros continue a 3-game series tonight in Seattle. The race for the National League wildcard playoff spots coming down to the wire. The Arizona Diamondbacks head into their road game against the White Sox with a 1.5-game lead over the Cubs. For the second spot, the Cubs are a half game up on Miami and a game ahead of Cincinnati for the third spot as they visit Atlanta tonight. As mentioned, country superstar Carrie Underwood will headline the Grey Cup Music Festival. She'll play Hamilton's First Ontario Centre November 17th, 2 days before the Grey Cup game at Tim Hortons Field. It'll be her first appearance in Hamilton since 2016. This sports update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. To the bat phone, the EMJ Marketing text line, 902-518-3033. EMJ Marketing provides the perfect keynote speaker for your event. My guy Johnny Meisner's watching down there in Washington State. Well, actually, Salem, Oregon. It says here, Johnny, is that right? Where we're very big on TDS cable on the Game Plus television network. John was the voice of the Wenatchee Wild back in the day when they were classified as Junior A. But anyway, we're talking about Kevin Constantine being suspended because they're now in the WHL. John says, I was in Wenatchee for opening weekend, and there was absolutely no indication of anything being not good. It just came across as a normal, if there is such a thing, opening weekend. The crowds were enthusiastic and liked what they saw. Well, something happened. And my very first thought about this was, poor Ron Robison, the commissioner of the Dub, like they needed this. You know, in his last season, the commissioner, longtime friend of mine from Indian Head, Sask, glad you asked. It's a scandal that they don't need. You know, and it's interesting because nobody even really talks about Mike Babcock anymore. I mean, I was in the NHL 2 games yesterday. Bab's name didn't even come up, but the Constantine name did. You know what I mean? This is the flavor of the week scandal. Last minute of play in hour 1. This is the flavor of the week scandal for this week. Can we just hurry up and get past it? But from the Dub guys I talked to today, they said something had to have happened. Something went down. There was an investigation, and if there wasn't anything of significance, they wouldn't have suspended him. They don't want the attention. So anyways, we'll get into more of this next hour with Moose. We'll talk about those games of the week in the Canadian Football League. Taylor Swift, if we must, and Travis Kelce. Carrie Underwood, is it a big deal or not? Of course, my contention has always been for the halftime act, it should be a Canadian. I've given up on a lot of my arguments, by the way, and life is a lot more peaceful. But maybe we'll fire him up again in hour 2. Stick around to find out after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. more speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Bingo!
What's winning a Stanley Cup done for the Golden Knights? Have you noticed a change?
Yeah, I mean, the confidence is certainly there. This team had a lot of guys that knew what it took to win a Stanley Cup. They brought them in intentionally for that reason. You look at like Alex Pietrangelo, Alec Martinez. They had plenty of cup-winning experience on this roster before, but now they've all done it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. Hope you're having as much fun as we are. If you've just tuned in for the first time today, welcome. Relax. We're talking sports. That's what we do here. But also pop culture. I'm in the South Florida studio. I keep looking at the sky, hoping that we don't get rained on, but it's starting to clear up. So that's good. And Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Just to recap, and we will get deeper into these issues here right now, but just to recap, what were we talking about? The huge breaking news from the Canadian Football League today. Carrie Underwood will be performing at the Grey Cup Festival on the Friday night of Grey Cup week at Hamilton's First Ontario Centre. That's the 18,000-seat facility, formerly known as Cobb's Coliseum. That's the big news. Talked a little bit about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce because everybody else is. We went over last night's NHL preseason games. If we have a minute, we can talk about tonight's NHL preseason games, baseball playoffs, and all the rest. But I want to say a couple things, Darren, if you don't mind. You were born, I always screw this up, 87 or 88?
87.
Yeah, so you probably don't really remember a world before the internet. Would I be right?
No. I definitely remember a world before the internet. It didn't come in until I was, I feel like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, okay, fair. Reason I say this is, yes, we're on national television all across Canada and 31 U.S. states. When we're on the radio in Atlanta, shout out Ryan O Radio, WQEE, and then Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live and Spotify. And some guy was just in here. I'm not gonna name him. Watching on YouTube. He just dropped all these troll comments in an assumed account, like a fake name. Nobody bit. So he said a bunch of mean things and left. Like, goodbye. Sort of like that drunk jerk that everybody can't wait to leave. And when he finally gets kicked out, everybody cheers. Ah. You know, have you ever been in a situation like that? Point being, I'm going to land the plane. Western Hockey League is in the news with the Major Junior Hockey League suspending the coach of the Wenatchee Wild, Kevin Constantine, for breaking league policies. I used to love the WHL message board and all message boards. I used to be in the 90s on a Dallas Stars message board at dallasstars.com. My handle was Tin Cup. Reason for that was a golfing day gone awry. You know what's that island green at the course in Saskatoon? What's the course in Saskatoon?
The Willows.
Floating green. The Willows, yeah. And I put like 13 balls into the drink trying to land a shot. It wouldn't surprise you because I'm a terrible golfer. I just kept teeing them up, trying to get it on that green. Didn't happen. My nickname became Tin Cup. Lasted for about 6 months. But the point is, those message boards aren't around anymore, especially the WHL one. Some NHL ones, I guess, and you can still chat. But I feel like Facebook and Twitter, especially our Facebook page, is like the message boards of this generation now. I mean, I had an assumed name. I just told you what it was there. And I said things I would never say if I had to put my name on it. And now, at least with Facebook, you got to have your name on there. I think it's awesome. So we're getting a lot of takes on the Kevin Constantine thing, the Carrie Underwood thing. And I just wish, if you want to trash Carrie Underwood being announced as the Grey Cup Festival headliner act, can you wait at least until tomorrow? Because this is a day that the CFL should be very proud of, in my opinion. Yet they're going to bash that. They're going to bash everything. Right, Darren?
Yeah, it didn't matter if they announced Taylor Swift at Grey Cup Festival. They would bash it and say, it's not the halftime show or, whatever. No. You can't even listen to it because this is awesome. Like, I'm trying to think in recent memory when there's been an act this big associated to the Canadian Football League. It's been a while.
Well, Keith Urban, 2019 Grey Cup, which I'll get to in a second, but bringing in the audience participation here because it's fun. And here's why. The world is what you make it. And for a long, long, long time, I thought it was a toilet. Because all I saw was bad things happened to me, and the more I thought about that, the more I perpetuated that. And once I kind of pulled my head out of the toilet and looked around and said, it's a beautiful world. And I looked for the nice things, everything changed. So that's why I don't want to sit here and trash. It's what everybody else does. And by the way, I will get, now the comments are coming in like crazy. Thank you, everybody. Hang on. John Ohm says, positive vibes only, please. Allie in Texarkana says, that would have been fun times, talking about that WHL message board. She says, if it's anything like hockey Twitter now. And she says, what about chat rooms on AOL? Those were safe when I was 16. Yeah, but then they got taken over by the perverts and the sexual piranhas. Everything gets ruined eventually by the idiots. But we're not going to let the idiots ruin this show. Write it down. We're not going to let the idiots ruin this show. Not going to happen. God knows they've tried. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in and he says, would you scroll riderfans.com, RP? Best memory of that troll hole? There are no good memories of that troll hole. I haven't read it in years. And Darren actually said to me, I think when I was complaining to you after I left the Rough Riders about something that had been said on there, and you're like, there's 16 people that read that site. Why do you care? Everybody else loves you. And the thing is, I know some of those trolls. No wonder they're so angry with life. Look at their lives. I'd be angry too. So no, I'm not. That's all I have to say about them. John Ohm says, Rod's rant. Love it. And Max Raven says, idiot-free zone. That's what this is. The only idiots allowed are me and Darren. And Tuna, today's director.
How about that?
How about that? Jen from the Four Seasons writes in and she says, it's fabulous for the CFL. Enjoy, Hamilton. Which, by the way, I don't know whether I'm going to be a Grey Cup or not. My guess is probably not, because I have commitments here. And Darren, you know what they are. And our business coordinator, Joe Gunnis, who's also my business manager, knows what it is. I don't want to divulge anything other than that, but I have commitments here in November. I can't, unless it changes, I don't think I'll be at the Grey Cup. But I've only been at them for a generation, okay? So I can skip 1 year. I was there last year, and it reminds me of the Super Bowl. You were there with me in L.A. How excited was I to go to Mike Ditka and Ron Jaworski's Super Bowl party? You remember how excited I was? You drove me there. And I ran around all night in downtown Los Angeles at this party. Go, where's Ditka? Where's America's coach? And they're like, he's not here, Mr. Pedersen. What? Yeah, he's kind of old. He doesn't get around here. What's his name on the damn sign for then? It's Ditka and Jaws. I paid $500 US, which included all the free booze I could drink. Guess what? And I wasn't smoking cigars either. So if Mike Ditka can skip out on his own party, I can miss one Grey Cup. Now, having saying all of that, I kind of wish I was going to be there. You can't tell me that this ain't going to draw people. Of course it's going to draw people.
It'd be awesome.
Carlos in Indianapolis says, we got a good crowd here. We do every day. It does annoy me, by the way, that something's going on. All these ads keep popping up randomly on YouTube. Do I have to pay for something so that these ads don't interrupt the feed? Max writes in and says, come on, Rod. I'm going to the Grey Cup all the way from Seattle. We'll miss you in the Hammer. No, you won't. And you ain't going to suck me in. Like I said, I've now officially been to 21 Grey Cups. You're not going to be thinking of me when you were there. That's not to say, though, that the Rod Pedersen Show isn't going to have a party. Last year was the greatest party at Grey Cup, and that's not RPDD salesmanship. It was the best party at Grey Cup. Twisted Tea partnered with us, right? And everybody said it was the best party at Grey Cup. Hang on, Darren. Well, here it is. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, but we need another Grey Cup VIP shaker. That was the event. I didn't say there wasn't going to be that. I didn't say that. What did I say last hour about people only hearing what they want? Not listening to the details? I said I wasn't going to be there necessarily. Doesn't mean that there isn't going to be a Rod Pedersen show there or a party. So don't get your knickers in a knot. Which, by the way, Joe Bowen said last night on the Leafs broadcast. He said everybody gets their shorts in a knot about preseason results. I'm like, right? Carlos, don't get too itchy yet. Colin in Ottawa says, as long as Glenn Suter doesn't get to fawn over Carrie Underwood for an entire quarter of the Grey Cup broadcast, I'm very excited for this announcement. It is 1:11, by the way, Eastern. That's what we were waiting for. Thank you. 11:11 Mountain for those that observe. There you go. Envision a positive outcome of your current situation. I have, and it's just fantastic. They're talking about, there we go. Beautiful. Like they weren't ready for this because it happens every day. It's the debate. Should I give up on these long-time debates, Darren? Because my life's become a lot more stressless, stress-free, since I stopped arguing about what I would like to see happen. And that's another reason why Serena and I have started a Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning specific podcast. So I'm not jamming Florida hockey down everybody's throats. We're on national television in Canada. It's Canada's national daytime sports talk show. Let's talk about Canadian events, period. And the people here in Florida that want to talk hockey and Florida hockey can go to the Cats and Bolts podcast. So my contention is a lot of things for the CFL. And to be honest, I really thought I was a pain in their butt. As a matter of fact, I was told I was a pain in the butt of the CFL office for needling them all the time. on things I'd like to see. And then I end up getting a basket full of wonderful gifts from them. So I don't know what they want. But my contention is that it should be a Canadian Grey Cup act for halftime. Always, 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 always. I'm getting upset thinking about it, and I don't like getting upset. Because a marketing executive said to me, but Rod, we want to appear big time. So we need an American act. I'm like, why can't we have a Canadian act that's big time? You know what I mean? And then we're big time. What do you, CFL's going to big time Shania Twain, which we've had multiple times. So maybe she's not a good example, but Bieber had him. Celine Dion. It reminds me of when I went to the Junos, Canadian Music Awards. I was so excited to go to the Junos, expecting to see Bryan Adams, Shania Twain, Justin Bieber. It wasn't any of them. I'm like, this is the American Hockey League of Canadian Music Awards. No offense to Katie Lang or that gang, but this is not. So do we have to have multiple tiers of acts? I don't get it. Troy in Toronto says, where and when is the RP Grey Cup party in Hamilton? To be determined? I dropped some news that I wasn't supposed to. It's coming. Details forthcoming. Okay? Let me guess, Darren. You're not going to agree that the halftime act for the Canadian Football League Championship marquee game has to be Canadian. To be honest, to me, it's not even a debate. Why are we talking about this? But we had Keith Urban, who would be a global, because he's from Australia in 2019. Lenny Kravitz in 2007, which I have a story about that. We were in that Grey Cup. Black Eyed Peas in 2011. So, no, clearly they don't agree with me. What do you think?
No, I don't like putting rules on things and limitations because I don't think the world's black and white. So, no, I don't think it needs to be a rule, but I think it should be. I think those are the options you should exhaust first. And there are so many great Canadian acts that are worldwide.
Yes.
You mentioned them.
Stop.
Yep.
Stop. The Weeknd played the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. He's from Toronto, but he's not good enough for the CFL. That's not to say they haven't tried. Maybe they can't afford him. And I'm not taking a shot at the CFL. I'm just saying overall it should be Canadian because we have enough.
I agree. We do. So, I mean, I would go down that road first. But I don't know that I would go down as far as to say I would take a 7th tier Canadian act ahead of Keith Urban, right? I would want Keith Urban in the concert before, a 7th tier Canadian act. I don't know who that would be.
No, and that's where we can't always agree.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that we have to understand. I mentioned this in a 12-step meeting the other day. I said I would love that we would all get along in life, but we're just not all going to get along because we don't all see things the same way. So we need to agree to disagree, take a vote, and move on and not get pissy about it. Colin in Ottawa says Drake ain't freezing his ass off for less than $1 million if you want a big-time act to play the Grey Cup halftime show. John in Edmonton says, I want to go to the RP Grey Cup party, but only if Rod is there. His name is on the sign. John, stop talking big. You're not going at all. So quit trying to somehow leverage me into it. Nice try, though. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, come on, Rod. CFL clearly can't afford an A-lister like The Weeknd. Then how did they get Keith Urban in 2019 in Calgary? Wasn't that long ago. And I was told Bieber did it for free in Toronto in 2012 and got booed. If that isn't the biggest Canadian thing ever. I feel like we're in one.
Yeah.
And I still want to know how Kevin Constantine, guys like Kevin Constantine, keep getting hired tonight in the NHL and more. So we'll be back in a moment on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Hell yes. How
The
about
sports
that?
landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, to your favorite daytime sports talk show. And I'll tell you what I love. We had to hang in there till the miracle happened. Just recently, 1 month ago today, we went to Shaw Rogers Channel 230 in 2 million more homes, and it's vastly upgraded our reach. We're infecting more minds daily than ever before as we bring Darren Moose DuPont back in. And they do really love the Canadian Football League talk. I'm just as pleased as punch because, we're doing the Panthers Lightning podcast. We're taping tomorrow. Billy Lindsay's coming down, our good friend. We can do that and appease the people down here that want that and can continue to talk about the Canadian topics that our vast majority of our audience wants. So I'm going to read from the text line 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Look them up and ask for Joe at emjmarketing.com. Michael's watching in Maple Ridge, BC, and he says, Rod, you should write a book. Maybe you have. I don't know. I'll look it up. LOL. I've written 3, 2 of which were bestsellers. And we already have a title for the next book. It's going to be called I Was There. because that keeps coming up in my life. I was there. When we talk about the 2012 World Juniors or this 2012 Grey Cup, I was there. All these exciting sporting events, I was literally there. So we'll tell some stories about that. Jason Bazaraba in Winnipeg writes in and says, hey, Rod, insider trading here. CFL almost went broke for Keith Urban. It went way over budget, LOL. He goes on to say Carrie Underwood is huge for the CFL. I love that they're getting bigger acts like Keith Urban a few years ago. And then he said, well, they almost went broke over that. Well, what do you say, Darren? Spend the money. Figure out how to pay for it later. Isn't that your thing?
To a degree.
Yeah. I look at it completely the opposite. Do not spend the money until the grain is in the bin. That served me very well over the years. Hank writes in and says, so you're pulling a Ditka? And I said, all I'm saying is I can't commit to the Grey Cup because I have commitments in the United States of America at that time.
How about that?
Brock in Calgary, where they're now watching us at the Shark Club, Deerfoot Meadows. And by the way, Brock, they replay us at 3 p.m. Mountain. So we're now 4 hours daytime television across Canada. He says the Grey Cup Festival should have announced a halftime show prior to announcing Carrie Underwood on the Friday. But he says, agreed, should be a Canadian act. Nelly Furtado is back at it. Book her. As much as I appreciate Carrie Underwood, they should announce the Grey Cup halftime show before the Friday night event. Also, the Ballers event in Sask was the best party at the Grey Cup Festival in Hamilton. In Regina, you mean? Because I was there. And to be honest, I was walking out of that party at the same time as Brock and a defensive coordinator of a CFL team, which will remain nameless. And I felt terrible that I didn't have room for them in my vehicle. I still feel bad about that, Brock, that I left you hanging there. I literally had a vehicle full of stuff. But, Brock, you dabble in the entertainment world. Wouldn't it be nice if all this just went according to plan? But I can't imagine trying to book multiple acts. Darren, I don't think it's as easy as people seem to think that it is. What do you think about that?
It's not. It's definitely not. I mean, you're talking about Hamilton in late November, outdoors. But the Grey Cup is still a big deal. But, you're trying to convince people it's a big deal. Money's an issue. It's not easy. Really not easy. So, and it's got to be perfect too. You can't just get whoever's available. It has to be somebody who's going to entertain, somebody who's hot at the right time. There's a lot that goes into it. So very difficult. I can't imagine that process is like booking a Grey Cup halftime act.
No, and by the way, Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says Carrie Underwood's booking fee is somewhere in the neighborhood of $800,000 US. Sure. But it's business. She's married to Mike Fisher, a Canadian. Maybe it's how much you got. Who knows? Maybe she happened to be in Hamilton that weekend for something. Like, it's not just because it's not a hard and fast thing. I understand enough about the entertainment business that way.
Yeah.
Troy and Tirana. I'm going to read this verbatim. He says, I was also at a 12-step meeting last night, Rod, and I feel like not giving a rat's ass how others view me is key to my recovery. So I get your rant about trolls. Their opinions mean jack squat. Oh, yeah, I know. And I was just at this meeting the other day, and this lady just blurted out, it feels good to feel good. I'm like, dang, I'm using that. Because, yes, it feels great to feel great. Why am I going to wallow in the crap and listen to what some loser that doesn't even have the sack between his legs to identify himself? Why would I care what he thinks? And furthermore, why I don't want to fight with various leagues, not just the CFL. They have their opinion. I have mine. We'll go do our thing over here on our show and maybe work together, but we'll just do it our way. Because that's working out too. On the Constantine thing, and this would be really big news, obviously, in America if it was a football coach. And I don't know why. Well, I shouldn't say that. It does happen in football. Who's the coach, everybody, at Michigan State? Mel, what's his name? He lost his job, didn't he, over a scandal? So this is not just a hockey thing, as the hockey people just perked up. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says Ryan Kennedy at the Hockey News is reporting on Twitter that the allegations around Kevin Constantine involve the use of a racial slur. That's the all that I know about it. And it's in my commentary today at rodpedersen.com. You can read it every day, plus get your breaking news there and show recaps. I just don't understand how this stuff keeps happening. I don't know Kevin Constantine. I'm sure we've been in the same room. Sure we've been in the same arena, but I don't know him. And I dang sure can't say that I have an opinion of him as a person because I don't know him well enough. I just don't get it. And I don't know if you followed any of our Facebook page. You know, we've been putting more work into that, into our Facebook, and it's eliciting all these comments. And somebody said, Rod, you just put up that he was suspended. There was no context of why. I said, but none was given, dude. We don't know why. I'm reading directly from the Western Hockey League news release that this guy was suspended pending an investigation. Or sorry, they had the investigation. Where it goes from here, I don't have any idea, Darren. But the comments there is my point about the message board. It used to be anonymous comments, and that was entertaining. Now it's still entertaining, but people have their names on there. And every opinion was on there. Somebody said there's all these young coaches trying to get a job, and they keep hiring these guys. I don't know where you stand. I couldn't believe that Babs got hired in Columbus in the first place, and I like Babs. From what I know of him, we've gone over that. There's people writing in that saying Constantine's always been a jerk, always will be a jerk. He's a jerk. That's your opinion of the guy. But if he used a racial slur in this incarnation of his career, he's got to go. He's an idiot then. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And like you said earlier, the WHL is not going to suspend a coach unless they know that there's something to it, right? And it's not just somebody complained, coach is suspended, and then we're going to investigate. Because once you're suspended, once you have this, once you're in the news cycle, you know, Kevin Constantine suspended, pending an investigation, if that's the case, you know, you suspend him right away. Now his name has that connotation with it. His name is tainted, even if he didn't do anything. Right? So the fact that the WHL suspended him and they're going through this means there's something there, and it's not good. And I saw that too. And I that was the only report that I've seen is about the potential of a racial slur. But until we know what it is, I mean, I'll hold comment, but there's something here. This isn't a nothing thing, and they're just not learning.
Leanne in Regina writes in, she says, stop hiring old school coaches and quit recycling. It sounds easy, but that's unfair for a couple of reasons. I know a lot of old school coaches, more so in football, but some in hockey that are the best guys. So to say every guy with gray or white hair is old school and past their time is wrong. Some of those guys are the best coaches. They may have adapted. Do you know what I'm saying? Just because a guy's been around forever doesn't mean or they've changed. Leanne, you yourself said you didn't like me before. You knew me personally, but you love me now. I've changed. I keep hoping one of these guys has changed. You know? And it's just like Constantine ruined it again. If he's guilty of what they're saying here. It's ridiculous, man. What a fall. Didn't even make Thanksgiving, for God's sakes. Just like Babs. Yeah. And you gotta really be careful, because people will talk noise about you and for their own agenda. You know, it'll be a God shot here. We'll get knocked off the air if I shouldn't be talking about this, but we had a pretty big sponsor of ours came up to us after our campaign ran, and they said, Rod, a lot of people told us not to do business with you, but they couldn't have been more. We decided to go with you anyways, and it's been great. You're a great guy. I didn't feel good about that. I'm like, who's out there still talking crap about me after all this time? Do you know what? My God. So you just never know. That owner in Wenatchee, maybe, or Bliss Littler, I think, is the general manager, probably knows Constantine, had a great history with him. Can't always go by what people say, is the point. On the Grey Cup, I'm sorry, just on the Grey Cup thing, Jeff, the Stamps fan, or who was it? Somebody goes, I don't remember a Grey Cup halftime act before Luba in 1991. It's because there wasn't one. Look it up. Look it up.
Really?
That was when they first started tracking Grey Cup halftime acts. And watch your feet, Darren. I haven't said this for a while. I'm going to drop some names here. I don't want to break your feet or anything, but I was sitting with Tom Cochran in Calgary last fall, a year ago now, and we talked about his halftime act, the 1994 Grey Cup. One of the greatest Grey Cups ever, because it was the hometown BC Lions against the Baltimore Stallions. And I said, Tom, what was your set that game? He's like, crap, I can't remember. He was the best guy. Tom Cochran, Life is a Highway. Clearly, he would have done that. It's on Google. You can look that up, too.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, hey, listen. John Ohm, before we break, says it all comes down to jealousy, Rod. Some people won't change. Haters will hate. Ain't that the truth? And once you realize, which I have recently, they are never going to change or get off your back, that's when you realize to move on and keep shining. Ask Coach Prime, which we clearly don't have time to get into here. Moose, if you want to come back for overtime, you're welcome to. Otherwise, have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Kyle McIntyre joins us next of the SJ. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ah, boy, what a day. But a fantastic day, I'll tell you that for free. It's a great day for hockey, as Badger Bob would say. And I just want to say this, got a few topics on the go today. Carrie Underwood will be headlining the Grey Cup Festival in Hamilton. 2 days before the actual game, she'll be playing at Hamilton's First Ontario Centre, formerly known as Cops Coliseum. Ticket info forthcoming. And Kevin Constantine suspended by the WHL. And Ken Pedersen writes in, he's the head coach and GM of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League's Neepawa Titans, and he says, thanks for sticking up for us gray-haired coaches. You're welcome, coach. Say, just because we got, some guys may have gray or white hair doesn't mean they're not nice or kind. And on that Junior A, and a good coach, Kyle McIntyre joins us, You're saying commissioner or president? It's commissioner, right, of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Kyle McIntyre. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm just great today, Rod. How are you?
Good. Well, yeah, obviously we're having a great day because we're having a hockey discussion. But let me ask you this. Your predecessor was the president, Bill Chow, my longtime friend. What made you guys change the title there? Is there a difference between a president and a commissioner?
I think the two terms are used interchangeably, but most hockey leagues are commissioners, and so that's how I'm referred to as being the commissioner.
Okay, well, before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, it's now been is this your second year? Is it the dream job, Kyle? Because it seems to me like it would be a dream job if you love hockey.
You know what? It's a gravy job. It's excellent, Rod. I love hockey. I love the league. I'm passionate about the communities in the league. And so it's really a super good fit. It doesn't seem like work, although there are lots of hours in a day. But when you're passionate about something, it doesn't seem like work.
You know what's funny about that? And you and I have had our one-on-one conversations, both on the air and off. And this is going to be a broad Junior A discussion, not just the SJ. But my brother played against you in the 80s. I wonder how many people remember that. He's like, that Kyle McIntyre, he was a snap show back in the day. He was setting penalty minute records. Do you want anybody to know that? Is he right in saying? Is he right in saying that?
Well, I don't know about that, but, I was probably classified as being a little bit hard-nosed, Rod, and protect the front of the net and blocked a lot of pucks. And on occasion, sometimes you had to be a policeman out there.
Okay, I apologize for that. Tough guy. Who wouldn't want to be known as a tough guy? Kyle McIntyre from the 80s. So anyways, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. But it looks like, from all accounts, it's been a tremendous start to the regular season for the SJ. Can you confirm or deny?
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Our attendance this weekend, we averaged about 995 fans right across our 12 venues. Every team had an opportunity to host a home game. I think there's one team that has no blemishes on the record. That's Melfort. And there's only one team, Notre Dame, that doesn't have a point after the weekend. So hockey is back in Saskatchewan. Our fans are coming out and supporting the SJHL. And again, it looks like it's going to be a battle right to the bitter end, Rod. Right now, 12 out of 12 teams have an opportunity to win the Cantera Seats Cup.
Well, parity is thy name of the game. And listen, in the pro leagues, you can go through salary caps, obviously, and various restrictions. But in a Junior A league, it would be a lot harder to do. But you're telling me there's a lot of parity. Is that luck or design?
I don't know if it's design. It might be recruiting. It might be that all the coaches are fairly familiar with one another's game plans. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes some great hockey to watch for sure.
Just lining up. I'm just looking at the sports slate here in the SJ and across the league. The last time that I was boots on the ground was the Centennial Cup, which is, I think, the first in Estevan, was the first time you and I met face to face. They were talking about this full face shield thing, and I never really heard how that ended. Canada-wide in Junior A, where are we at in full face shields for Junior A hockey across Canada?
So Hockey Canada and the CJHL have implemented face masks. We in the SJHL are on a graduated implementation. And so basically our players that played in the league previously that are 2003, 2004 do not have to wear a full face mask. They're wearing a visor and they have to wear a mouth guard to protect from dental injuries. But basically anyone that's 2005, 2006, 2007, regardless of whether they're in the league or not, have to wear a full face mask. And right now, I'd say, Rod, it has mixed reviews. I know that Brad Howard, our senior manager of player safety, we're really working with our officials to make sure that we're cracking down on the high sticks and the arms up and the head contact penalties. And certainly in some leagues that also have graduated implementation, some teams have opted to wear the full face mask. There's a couple perspectives on that. I guess if you're a player and you're looking forward to playing junior hockey and wearing a half visor, it's a little disappointing that opportunity is taken away from you. If you're a parent and you're faced with a $25,000 dental bill because you weren't wearing a full face mask, maybe you have a different perspective. And really all I'm hoping is that we'll gather some data. My hope is that our concussions and head contact penalties and dental injuries do not go up as a result. And I'm hoping that the powers that be are willing to look at some data at the end of the season and determine whether it was a good decision or not.
Oh, man, we could talk about this a heck of a lot more. And to be honest, Kyle, you'll have to make a fact-finding mission to South Florida. Come down and visit me here because I am around the hockey community all the time at all levels. And a guy said to me the other day, why wouldn't they want to wear full face shields? He didn't know. And I said, because they don't think it's cool. End of story. That would be my answer for it. You grew up wearing a full face shield your whole life. Why can't you wear it in junior? What would be their argument against it then?
Yeah, and you know what? The kids that are transitioning to NCAA Division I or Division II or Division III, they're wearing a full face mask. I think pretty soon we're going to see it in youth sport. There still is kind of the old culture of being manually or being macho by wearing a half visor. If I go back to my own playing days, I think my last year in SHL, they brought in the half visor. And so again, that was a bit of a change, but no one seems to complain about it now. And maybe full face masks are the next evolution. Certainly, as a commissioner, you don't want to see any players get injured. You don't want to see any family having to face a dental bill. Although we as a league and the CJHL and Hockey Saskatchewan have insurance, still that's a pretty big bill to be looking at if you happen to get a puck or a stick in the chops and you lost some teeth. So we'll see how it plays out. I know that Brooks Bandits, for example, the whole team is wearing a full face mask. I know there's other teams in the CJHL that they're doing that as well. And I think it'll just, anytime there's a change, Rod, like people are typically resistant to change, and we'll see where this goes. I hope that somewhere along the line, though, that we are asking some of the players because they're the ones that are playing the game and they're taking the risks.
Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, I love the Junior A chatter. This is where the RP show shines. I absolutely agree. Jen at the Four Seasons says, go Terriers. Thank you, Jen. With by the way, a new coach and GM, he was hired just before the season, that they're off to a great start is a fantastic thing. Again, Kyle, I could talk to you forever, but let me just say this. What's the argument against a full face shield? What those that are complaining, what's their argument?
Well, I think in the fact that we're kind of caught between two worlds with the visor and a full face mask, I think the argument is from a coach's perspective, it's consistency, it's fairness, it's potential injury from the ones that are wearing a full mask. Certainly, there's some players that are a lot braver with a full face mask, I think, Rod. I think that's kind of where it comes from in the hockey culture. But as we both know in the NHL now, anyone coming in is wearing a half visor. So I think that argument is being thrown out the window. So I'm not sure. I think that it's just something people have to get accustomed to.
Yeah. Who was the team in Estevan that wore blue from Ontario? Clark may want to help me. They were a lot tougher with every one of them had a full face.
Yeah, that was Pickering.
We'll figure
Pickering.
Right.
Pickering.
We'll figure out a way to deal with them. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, that's the fun thing about sports. You got to adjust, figure out a way around it. Kyle, thanks for this. Any last words on the SJ before we let you go?
Well, just appreciate all your interest in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Rod, and for your viewership out there. If you haven't been to an SJHL game, please go and see one. It's fast, it's skilled, it's great value for your dollar.
Thanks, Kamish. I appreciate it. Good luck with the season.
Thank you very much, sir. Good luck to you, too.
Thank you. The commissioner of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Kyle McIntyre. We'll be back with Overtime and put a bow on all of these topics when we return. Don't go anywhere. It's brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, here on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's overtime, and it's always brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You can find them on 28th Street Northeast. Hey, head on down there and check out the Rod Pedersen Show lane. Tell me how it is. It's an amusement park for hockey players. Interested? Or as Randy and Michelle, the owners, say, where skill and fun collide. Take your team there. Take your staff there. Take your family there. I've been there. I can vouch. Fully licensed with a restaurant and bar, too. Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast. I missed them. Can't wait until the next time we're there. Sports update before we delve into the comments. The Toronto Blue Jays control their playoff destiny as they kick off their final week of the Major League Baseball regular season tonight. They open a 3-game series with the Yankees at Rogers Center, holding a 1.5-game lead over Houston for the American League's second wildcard spot. The Astros have the third spot, with Seattle a game and a half out. Mariners and Astros continue a 3-game set tonight in Seattle. Country superstar Carrie Underwood will headline the Grey Cup Music Festival. Underwood will play at Hamilton's First Ontario Centre on November 17th, 2 days before the Grey Cup game at Tim Hortons Field. It'll be Underwood's first appearance in Hamilton since 2016. Our sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. And ironically enough, or coincidentally enough, they're right on 28th Street Northeast in Calgary, too, like literally 2 to 3 blocks away from Overtime Hockey Lanes. And they say in life there's no coincidences. What do we have here? Well, on the full face shield thing. And I appreciate everybody that has stuck around all day long for the chat. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, I believe the full face shields are viewed as a kid sort of thing. Yeah? Don't care. Put them on. Who's running the show here? Allie in Texas makes a very good point. She says keeping everyone safe is imperative for the sports to continue. Yeah. I don't have a problem at all with player safety. His interesting answer from Wally the other day, yesterday, Wally, regarding kicking the field goal to win to set the NFL record for points for the Dolphins, and the coach took a knee instead. Wally's been in that position before, and he said, you don't want to put the players in jeopardy. If you can take a knee, was Wally's take on that. And I had to sit and think about that for a second. I'm like, yeah, now I get it. Patrolman Pete says, who you got to win the SJ this season, Rod? North Battleford's looking impressive at the Centennial Cup back in the spring. Yeah, that was last year, bro. We're going to go with the Estevan Bruins, my favorite hockey team, or at least last I checked they are. Are you still Estevan? Are you still my favorite team? Do I have a reason for you to still be my favorite team? Because the Stars do have a place in my heart for sure. Wayne in BC says, wow, that was a fast 2 hours. Yeah, buddy, always is. If this show ever starts to drag, let me know. We'll change things up in a jiff. I sit here and watch Pardon the Interruption. Clark, tell me, is that literally only 30 minutes long? PTI? 30 minutes? Oh, no. Oh, what I got on ESPN is 30 minutes. 30 minutes, it takes me 30 minutes to breathe in and breathe out. 30 minutes? You can't get into anything in 30 minutes. David in Winnipeg says, hey, Rod, if and when the Bombers beat Toronto Friday, do they deserve to be number one in the power rankings? Sure. Why not? The power rankings don't really mean a whole lot, but I will tell you this. It's a good question, and I know it's very important to the teams, but it doesn't matter. I feel that's far more a football thing than a hockey thing, although we were sitting in a restaurant team meal hotel conference room in Spokane, Washington in 2007, on the way to hanging a banner in 2008. And I remember our coach, Curtis Hunt, standing at the front of the room, held up a piece of paper. He goes, boys, we made the top 10 in all of Canada. Rankings. Guys all went nuts. So, yes, I understand that players love it, but it still doesn't mean anything because we bowed out in the first round of the playoffs with the Swift Current Broncos that day. Don't get me started. That pissed me off. So you can have the power rankings if you want Winnipeg Friday. Jen at the Four Seasons says, as having multiple kids in hockey, I appreciate the full cage. I couldn't even imagine the injuries that could have been. I like this. If you're in the NHL, it's your choice. Interesting, though, what Kyle McIntyre said, that you come into the NHL now, you got to wear a visor. Last minute of play in hour 2. There aren't a lot of guys not. We looked it up the other day. Ryan Reeves, Ryan O'Reilly, Getzlaf was, but he's gone. Thank you, David. He says, good story. I got a million. You want those in the book? Or just come here every day. You can hear them every day for free. You don't got to buy a book. That's it. Tomorrow's going to be bang-up fun. Thank you to Kyle McIntyre. Thank you to Hustler. Thanks most of all to you for tuning in every day and our fabulous sponsors. Please support them. And we'll do it tomorrow, noon Eastern. Hey, Tony! Tony and Estevan. Go, Bruins, go! People still talk about the RP show and Estevan. Okay, they're my team. You got me. See you tomorrow at noon Eastern.
McFly, hello!